So I'm logging in Secretary Friedlander. He's running just a touch late. His Chief of Staff, Jackie Richardson's going to join just in case he's late.
Thank you for the update.
Amanda or Amy, is it fine for us to go ahead and get started, given it's 1 o'clock? Yes, okay, super. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Felicia Cummings-Smith and thrilled to be coming together this afternoon for a very important update. And I want to thank Amy and the team for their hard work and getting everything together for this special called meeting, as well as the leadership of each of you who serve on committees, particularly the Funding Diversification Committee that met this week. I want to thank you all for coming together so quickly for us to be able to have this opportunity to come together. So with that, I want to call our meeting to order, and a review of the agenda items, which is on the next slide for today's meeting. So one of the things that we want to make sure that we address is the purpose of this special called meeting and the use of tobacco settlement funds, which will include an overview, any clarifying questions related, and we'll take a vote at the end, and then we will conclude our meeting together. But just thank you again for your commitment. I know each of you have very busy schedules, and it's important for us to do the work of the Commonwealth and this office together. So as a reminder, on the next slide, we have a couple of, our goals, just to make sure that we adhere to the charge of the Governor's Office of Early Childhood Education. You can read these here, but most importantly is our emphasis and focus on building greater collaboration and coherence across our communities across the state, who are all focused on early childhood education, maintain and commit to our focus on quality and continuous improvement for the state's youngest learners, as well as families, and to ensure that more children enter kindergarten prepared for success. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Amanda Atkins. And Amanda, could you please take our roll call?
All right, Amy Smith. Andrea Day,
Present.
Anita Dowd. Beth Morton. Brittany Howell,
I am here. Thank you.
Dee Dee Cummings. Dr. Amy Hood. Dr. Annette Bridges. Dr. Connie White.
I'm here.
Dr. Felicia Cummings Smith.
Here.
Dr. Jason Gilbert. Commissioner Jason Glass or proxy.
This is Thomas Williams. I'm here for Dr. Glass.
Thank you. Greta McKenzie. Kim Fithian. Lynn Baker. Here. Paula Goff.
Here.
Representative Kim Banta.
Here.
Rena Gratz.
Here, good afternoon.
Scotty Collier.
I'm here. Thank you.
Secretary Eric Friedlander or proxy.
I'm here. This is Eric.
Thank you. Deputy Secretary Beth Brindley or proxy.
Here.
Thank you. Tracy Stimmel. Senator Danny Carroll. Travis Burton
I'm here.
and Twyla Burdette. Thank you all. Amy Smith is here too.
Amanda, there was one note in the chat. I'm not sure if you were able to get that Anita is with us as well today. Just want to make sure that's caught in the notes for in the minutes for our meeting. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Amy Neal.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Cummings Smith. I want to thank all of our appointed members for attending. Everybody's super busy, and we know that. We sent several emails out this week and then also this morning saying, hey, we're really close to quorum. So those of you all who did some rearranging with their schedules, just know that we really appreciate your ongoing support and leadership to the Early Childhood Advisory Council. It means more than you know. And so we sincerely thank you. And then those that are also joining the meeting, our partners from across the state, we see you and we thank you also. So the next slide, please. Just wanted to start off with the letter from our governor. And this is a required piece for the preschool development grant. And the governor must designate the office that will be the entity for execution and administration of the grant. So we were really proud to receive this designation. It's a beautiful letter. And once we secure the grant, we're gonna have it framed. So we just wanted to share that with you. So next slide. And Dr. Cummings Smith, I think this is you, and I'll be happy to add anything.
Very good. Yes, I think it speaks volumes that we have a letter from the governor in support of this endeavor. I know that our legislative body in general is committed to early childhood education and education so that we can improve early learning and the outcomes for the Commonwealth. So just to briefly go over the timeline for this opportunity, we're working fast and furious, I know, as a state to hit the application deadline. There's an internal deadline that's been established in order for us to hit that 11/7 deadline. As many of you know, this will go through a number of reviews and then a number of sign-offs for us to submit on behalf of the state. Committee meetings will take place the week of October 24th, and we anticipate hearing an announcement December 10th through the 15th. And what a lovely holiday surprise that would be if Kentucky is awarded this opportunity. So, we'll just keep focused on the strategic opportunities ahead of us as a state with good hopes that we'll be selected as a recipient in the future. Next slide. I'm going to turn it over to Amy again so that she can specifically go through maybe the high-level overview of these 6 priority areas of the proposal.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Cummings Smith. And what I'd like to do is talk, if I can find it. This is, I don't know if you can see it. This is the second binder for the preschool development grant that was released at the end of September. I can't find it. So, but anyway, there are 6 priorities for the preschool development grant. And you have to address them all, and there is a bonus activity. And so you can see up there the 6 activities. And Dr. Cummings Smith said that we had meetings this whole week with all of our different committees. So I first want to thank the chairs of all of our committees. I'm not going to name them because no, I'm not going to, because if I do, I'll miss somebody, and then that's always problematic. But I will say this, Rena chaired one of the meetings, and she said it so well in that she said, there are strategies identified in the application because you have to, right? And there are strategies that are data driven. There are strategies that we've been seeding since the preschool development grant, and there are strategies from the American Rescue Fund. But the real work is, like sleeves rolled up on number 1, because everyone has to refresh their needs assessment. Now, I probably didn't say it as eloquently as Rena did, but it was pretty powerful the way she said it. And so I just want to really underscore that, okay? That once we secure this grant, we have to start with a needs assessment, okay? So there's that. We also have to refresh our strategic plan, and then maximizing parent engagement, workforce, quality improvement, and strategies to enhance quality and expand access, and then a coordinated enrollment. When we think about how we described our overall application, we start with the data. that 9 and 10 children who start kindergarten behind are still behind in kindergarten. We talk about how Kentucky is not new to this work. We've been at it for 20 years. The legislation with Kids Now was groundbreaking, and that Kentucky has a comprehensive birth to 5 system already, meaning it's early intervention, it's home visitation, it's public preschool. And we need to ensure that families and caretakers have access to what works best for them. We go on to talk about that Kentucky was fortunate to receive the preschool planning grant. And through that, we developed a 5-year strategic plan. And Kentucky then did not receive that second preschool development grant. But as you all know, through your support and leadership, we have used that 5-year strategic plan as a guide, and we've accomplished much from that second application. And so we really talk a lot about that work that we've been doing over the past 2.5 years. I want to pause for a moment and just say thank you to Dr. Cummings Smith, who has been a real leader and mentor through this application process. She has talked with our team and our grant writer and has really encouraged us to be innovative and ensure that our application is ambitious. And I can assure you that once we hit submit, we can all feel very confident about that. So thank you, Dr. Cummings Smith. We know how busy you are, and we have kept that in, that as our North Star, if you will. So thank you very, very much for that. But the preschool development grant, talks about how they want you to build out from what you've been seeding from that second grant. We didn't receive it, but we have been, right? So we talk about all that we've accomplished. I think the next piece that's in the project description is about how we have started to identify Kentucky bright spots, but we're just barely scratching the surface with that. And we want to continue to identify those bright spots, those business-led solutions. Where are the workforce innovative solutions? How do we identify those? And then how do we identify the opportunities, the gaps? This grant is really big on doubling down on workforce and then providing access and quality for those most at risk. I think the last thing that I would say in thinking about the project description is about ensuring that there is a comprehensive and sustainable ecosystem for birth to 5. And so we do note the best practice elements of that. And I don't have it in front of me, but off the top of my head, it is around coaching and ongoing high quality professional development for staff, and blending and braiding dollars for sustainability purposes, and using data to drive decision making. And so really focusing, if Kentucky is going to take our work to the next level, it really is about that structure of our early childhood system so that families and children get the best services that they deserve, because we really want, in the end, Kentucky to be the best place to start and raise a family. So with that being said, these are the 6 priority areas that you must address 7 is coordinated enrollment, and that is our bonus area that we selected. We were very pleased with the conversation that we had with Secretary Friedlander and some of his leadership staff, that they've agreed to take a leadership role in that space, and that'll be a great win for Kentucky families. So I think that's it on that slide. We can go ahead and move on to the next one. Want to spend a minute here on the on the needs assessment. The strategies that we have put in place in the application, again, just thinking about how we're not new at this work at all. There are a lot of partners and existing resources and things going on. So how do we capture it all? How do we connect it all? How do we braid it all? How do we leverage it all? And really identify what the gaps are. That's what we're working to do. So a landscape analysis, again, to really get those data-driven best practices to bubble up, emerging trends. Transition is so critical, and those handoffs. So where are they? Who's doing them? Where are the exemplars? And then crosswalking existing, birth to 5 needs assessments. We've had such wonderful conversations with Dr. White, talking through developmental screening, and just so many things have already been uncovered. And so there's so much more to uncover, but the work unpacking all of that is really difficult. And that's why oftentimes we don't do it. It's really hard, right? But when you get all the right people at the table, it can be done. And when you have a common goal and common metrics, and those supporting strategies, that's where you get to those population level outcomes. And that's where we want to go. An environmental scan of the Kentucky Regional Collaborative Network. They're doing great work, but they're overworked. They're under capacity. So how do we help them build capacity? Less is more. And asset mapping with our colleagues at the Kentucky Center for Statistics, especially in workforce structures and family and children. So again, this is a mandatory, this will be, the first required activity that we do once we secure the grant. Next slide. Dr. Cummings-Smith.
I think one of the things that I'll say, thank you, Amy. One of the things that I'll say is most impressive about the work that's underway is the number of letter of commitments from such a diverse group of stakeholders and organizations. And as Amy just mentioned, getting the right people at the table, having the commitments for shared goals, shared accountability, and shared outcomes will ensure that the state is successful moving forward. So you can see on this slide the number of entities representing a broad group of individuals and leaders from across the state who are committed to the advancement of this work across the state. So I am thankful to be a part of this collaborative effort personally, but also a part of this collective organization to move the work forward. So next slide.
Okay, so I spoke earlier about, when we, our team first received the grant and began reading through it and then watched the webinar. It was, so many of our friends and colleagues on the call have written federal grants, and you know how they can be. It was do this and this and this and this and this, and then throw in the kitchen sink and everything else. And so, we were challenged for a minute about, oh, wow, how do we focus? Geez, how do we really focus? And then it became really clear the more we sort of read and sifted through and read the FAQs about the grant, they really expected building out what you've been seeding, doubling down on workforce, and then access and quality for those most at risk. So what we wanted to show you here is that that's what we're doing with the funding, is that we're investing in what they're expecting us to. And so, we're investing in the required activity 4, which is workforce and best practices. And then number 6, which is strategies to enhance quality and expand access. So just wanted to share that with you. Those were some hard decisions that we had to make, but that's what we did. So next slide. Dr. Cummings-Smith, I think.
Yep. So I think we have a couple of questions that we'd like to ask to get feedback from this group that are here on the slide. What are the burning questions you have? What might get in the way? And what is missing from what you've heard the office mention as a part of the path forward for this opportunity? So if you would, please use the hand raising so I can acknowledge you before you take yourself off mute to just contribute to this conversation, please. What are your burning questions? What might get in the way? What is missing? Kim, thank you so much. I believe and agree with you that this has been a well-organized and thoughtful process. And I just want to bring that voice into this part of our agenda, because I do think there's been a very thoughtful, methodical way, collaborative way in which the office, Amy's leadership has provided in moving forward. Any other comments then or questions related to what's here?
Dr. Cummings-Smith, Amy. Representative Banta. It's Amy.
Yes.
Thank you so much. What a kind comment.
Take of it and become whole.
Has somebody jumped on that's not supposed to? Okay. Representative Banta, I just wanted that, what a kind comment, and thank you so much. And I just want to say that this team has been absolutely amazing. And matter of fact, last night, this is so ironic that just last night I stopped for dinner and I got something to go. And as I was sitting there, I sent a text to my team and said how absolutely amazing they are, in that I did. I said, it's all hands on deck. They never complain. They're always smiling, and it's all about getting the job done. And I don't know how many times we've said, because we get one shot to get this right. And so thank you so much for noticing. And this is seriously the most amazing team working for kids in the Commonwealth.
It really shows.
It's so nice of you.
Rena, I see you have comments in the chat. Would you like to come off mute?
Oh, I just wanted to echo the comments from Representative Banta about having had the opportunity to write quite a few federal grants myself. I know how absolutely daunting this can be, and especially within the time frame that you're given. So I know that this is an absolutely Herculean task, and to not just get it done, but do it well, and capture everything that our state has invested into this process before this grant opportunity came along. Like Amy said earlier, we didn't stop when we didn't get the grant, the second part of the grant. We continued on with the 5-year plan, and for me, going through this process and seeing actually everything that has been done and is still being done was very validating, in the sense of, wow, we have done a lot of things. When you're in the middle of things, sometimes it's hard to see everything that you're doing, but I really hope the team in this process of putting everything together in this grant application, I hope they feel very validated with all the good work that they have done. To see it all together on paper is really something. It just reinforces the value of the work that you've been doing for the Commonwealth. So thank you.
Excellent. Any other thoughts or comments? If not, I think we should go ahead and go to the next slide. We will need a motion to approve. So if there is a motion to approve, we'd like to call for that now.
Motion.
Representative Banta, is there a second?
A second.
Rena, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, please unmute and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. So we'll go on to the next slide. Just as a reminder, we have our December 15th meeting coming up. It's my understanding our goal is to be in person. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll also have a virtual option available for those of you that may want to participate virtually. And if there's no other business at this time, I'd like to call for a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
This is Brittany Howe. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Brittany. Is there a second?
This is Thomas Williams. I'll second.
Thank you, Thomas. And we are adjourned. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your afternoon.